CJ Flyer back with another YouTube video. Earlier today, EA Sports dropped the College Football 26 gameplay deep dive in which they covered a majority of the gameplay changes from College Football 25 over to College Football 26. So not only did they release that 4 to 5 minute YouTube video, but they have this incredibly long article here. If you do have the time to read it, I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description and in the comment section. However, my goal with this video is to cover what I believe are the most notable changes from College Football 25 over to College Football 26 as far as the gameplay goes, and to try to get it done in under 10 minutes. So let's get right into it. First off, the in-game substitution menu. So last year in College Football 25, we had to pause the game on online games in order to make subs, and that was a bit nerve-wracking because you only get 2 pauses per half, as well as you only have a 30-second pause timer. And now what you can do is open up an in-game substitution menu by clicking up on the D-pad, and not only do you see the players by position, but you can also see their wear and tear status. So for example, here with Phillips at wide receiver, we can see that he's got a huge wear and tear bump to his right foot. His health status is in the red. He is risking injury at this point being on the field. So what you could go ahead is scroll down to Phillips and change him out for a different wide receiver on this current drive. So I like this in-game substitution menu. Huge quality of life improvement to the game. Very excited about it. In addition to that, there's also some other changes with the wear and tear system. Wear and tear does affect player abilities. So for example, if you've got an elusive back and you've been running it up the middle for the past 3 to 4 plays, no huddle, and the wear and tear starts to hit him hard, you're going to see gold abilities drop to bronze. You could see platinum abilities drop to silver. An ability can drop up to 2 tiers, and so the heavier the impact to wear and tear, the heavier the impact to the player abilities. So not only are player attributes affected by wear and tear, now the abilities are as well. They are dynamic. And with wear and tear, we also have the weather affecting the wear and tear. So let's say, for example, rainy weather, it causes the players to slip more. That could increase the impact of wear and tear to a player's knees. And that's just one example. Of course, with snow and with other types of weather, we might see different types of impacts to the wear and tear system. And if you don't like the default wear and tear settings, they've included all kinds of customization sliders and settings now to how wear and tear works for your dynasty, for your play now offline. So they've basically gone from minimal customization to the wear and tear system in College Football 25 to basically the absolute maximum as far as customization goes. You can customize how much a hit stick tackle impacts wear and tear. You can talk about how much a sack impacts wear and tear. I mean, there's so much here. How much a player recovers at halftime from wear and tear, between quarters, so on and so forth. Lots of customization here in case you don't like the way the default settings are set up. So moving on from that, the next notable change to the gameplay, and we've already touched about on this a little bit from the wear and tear part of it, is player archetypes and abilities. So there's new player archetypes, there's new player abilities. They mentioned a couple of them here in the YouTube video and in the article. And apparently we're going to get more of a deep dive here in the coming days when they do the Dynasty deep dive. We'll get to learn more about these abilities and archetypes. So I'm not going to talk about much here. However, they did mention this Heisman tier of player abilities. So last year in College Football 25, we had bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And now we have a tier higher than platinum, which is Heisman. But the only way to obtain the Heisman tier is if your player gets hot, goes on a streak, is performing very well in-game. They will then see their platinum tier abilities potentially increase up to Heisman tier abilities. And likewise, if you have a player that's going cold, let's say you have your quarterback, he's throwing some incomplete passes, a couple interceptions maybe, you will see some of those higher level abilities drop to lower tiers. So perhaps mobile, like, I don't know, dots or something. We'll see a gold tier drop off to like a silver or a bronze from poor performance, just as an example. So abilities are no longer static. They are dynamic based on in-game performance. Next, I want to talk about playbooks and plays. 2,800 new plays, 45 new animations, I mean, they've gone above and beyond here. They could have just given us the same plays from College Football 25, but they've added some pretty unique plays and formations. If you look at this one here, Penn State with 4 guys out wide, only 4 offensive linemen, leaving the left side wide open for a potential left side blitz. But of course, the defense would also risk leaving a wide receiver here for a screen pass wide open if they send that blitz on the left side. Just a lot more customization, a lot more unique plays. And not only do we have some weird looking formations like this, but we also have double motion plays being added. You know, in College Football 25, you could only send 1 player in motion pre-snap. Now it looks like you can send at least 2 players in motion pre-snap. That's going to provide a whole lot more customization as well. Pretty excited about this, and to be able to try some unorthodox plays here in College Football 26. Next change to the gameplay, this one I'm a little bit less excited about. I'm not sure how this is going to work, but as you can see here, field vision is affected by height. So a short quarterback with tall offensive linemen, it's at certain points, if the wide receiver is, you know, say there's a tall offensive lineman between the quarterback and that receiver, that will result in higher potential for inaccuracies. So as you can see right here, because of the fact that the lineman was in the way of the quarterback's, you know, field of vision, completely missed the receiver here, wide left. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that in College Football 26. Again, just have to keep physical attributes in mind. Last year, the height and weight didn't really matter so much. It didn't really affect the in-game gameplay as much as abilities and ratings. Now it seems like, yeah, height's going to make a difference here, at least for quarterbacks. Next, we're going to talk about defensive line adjustments and stunts and animations. So last year we only had 4 different movements that defensive linemen can make to try to get around offensive linemen to sack the quarterback or to get a tackle for loss on a running back. This year, there's 12. They've added more animations. You can pull up a pre-play menu to choose what type of movements the defensive linemen make if you're not going to be manually controlling them. So this is pretty cool. I like that they've added this customization. I like that they've added more adjustments that you can make. Obviously, if you're not interested in all of this, you don't have to do it. But if you are an advanced level player or someone that wants to become an advanced level player and wants to try out these different unique stunt types, the option's there, which I think is great. In addition to that, defensive linemen also have this block steering ability. So they have a video example of it here. If you're not able to break the, shed the block from the offensive lineman, or, if you're choosing not to, get around the offensive lineman for a sack or a tackle for loss, you can choose to drag that offensive lineman with you in whichever direction you want. So in this case, the defensive lineman here is dragging that offensive lineman, block steering him to the left to prevent the running back from getting over to the outside, and he's able to get the tackle for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. Next, I want to talk about offensive blocking assignments. This is something I'm especially excited about because there's been many times in College Football 25, pre-snap, I'm looking at a run play, and I see where the blocking assignments are, and I'm a bit annoyed because there will be a middle linebacker that's not being blocked when I'm running an inside zone run play, and I'm just like, look, I do not care about that outside defensive line. I don't care about the outside linebacker. I would rather, since I am running up the middle, I would rather the middle linebacker be blocked instead. Now you can go ahead and change that. They don't have a video or a photo example here, but they do make note of it. If we go ahead and look right here, smarter targeting selections as well as untargeting defenders, you now have the ability to unassign a target. See a free defender that you want to leave unblocked for a screen. You can now intentionally avoid targeting certain players with blocking assignments. So that's pretty cool. We can finally change the blocking assignments, which has been a huge gripe of mine. So I'm glad that they've added this customization to the game. Some more customization back on the defensive side of the ball. Custom zones. This was announced in the game reveal trailer, but now we actually get to see it live in action. You might have missed it there. We're going to go ahead back in this video, and as you can see very clearly here, this person on defense is manually setting that deep zone further back down the field towards the end zone, and then they show the play following that pre-snap adjustment, and that puts the safety in place for an interception. Of course, you can, you don't have to just set the zones deeper. You can also adjust them left and right. You can bring them in, make them more shallow. I think this is a great change to defensive settings. It's been a gripe of mine because sometimes, offensive players, they're able to find exploits for certain zones, certain defensive plays, and able to get those passes, break the seam, what have you. This is great. This is amazing. I love this customization. I think it's going to be a great way to potentially counter some exploited offensive plays, some cheese plays, if you will. And I'm glad that they have this adjustment available. Not only that, there's some other secondary improvements as well. They've mentioned here, no eyes, no picks. There's no more blind interceptions. If the defensive player is not looking at the ball, they can't just, blindly catch the ball without looking at it just because they have platinum house call or what have you. Additionally, there's some other defensive assignments as well that you can make, new defensive formations. There is something else in this article as well, not shading coverage. I lost it. There's some other defensive logic changes. Here we go. With RPO, you can go ahead and make adjustments pre-snap to how players will react to RPO plays, how A and B gap defenders will react versus how C, D, and E defenders will react. I think this is really great to have in the game as well because a lot of times people exploit RPOs and the defense won't know what to do most of the time in some cases unless you're manually adjusting players pre-snap. Linebackers and safeties used to, when you click to show blitz, all of the players on the field would show blitz. Now you can set it to be only the linebackers show blitz or I'd assume only the safeties showing blitz. So again, just more customization in-game as well as out of the game with the wear and tear. You now have these in-game adjustments that you can make as well on the defensive side of the ball to prevent cheese plays from occurring and being successful. Here's the show blitz part of the article that I was mentioning earlier. One last thing I want to talk about here to wrap this video up is the Stadium Pulse. So it's gotten more intense. Not only do they show your pass routes rattling around, not only will the kick meter disappear when you're going to make a kick, apparently those effects have become more extreme. In addition to, I'm trying to find the video here, they show the play clock disappearing. That's not that video. It's this one up here. If we go ahead and scroll to this part, you can see the play clock kind of fading away and glitching out. So that's another aspect of Stadium Pulse that's been added to the game, and apparently it affects the player ratings a lot more than it did in College Football 25. To what extent, we won't really know until we play the game. That being said, one last aspect of Stadium Pulse, there is a way to counter it. If you get a big play, break out for like a 20-yard run or something, it does say that Stadium Pulse will be turned down temporarily. Again, don't know how long. Is it for the rest of the drive? Is it for just the next play? We won't really know until we play the game, but there is a counter to Stadium Pulse. It's not like it's inevitable that you're going to always be affected by Stadium Pulse every play. If you play well, Stadium Pulse is going to impact the players less. So those are the most notable changes to the gameplay from College Football 25 or to College Football 26. Let me know what you think about these in the comments section down below, and click the video on your screen now for some more College Football 26 news and gameplay.